The Return of My Heart. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled in the heart of the French countryside, there lived a beautiful young woman named Sophie. She was known throughout the village for her kindness and her beauty, and many men had sought her hand in marriage. But Sophie had always been hesitant to give her heart to any of them, for she had always dreamed of true love and adventure. One day, a handsome young man named Pierre came to the village. He was a traveler, and had come in search of a rare flower that was said to grow in the nearby woods. Sophie, who loved nothing more than to explore the countryside, offered to help Pierre in his search. As they searched for the flower, Sophie and Pierre grew closer and closer, and soon they fell deeply in love. But their happiness was short-lived, for Pierre was called away on a journey to distant lands, and Sophie was left behind, heartbroken. Years passed, and Sophie had all but given up hope of ever seeing Pierre again. She tried to move on with her life, but the memory of Pierre and their time together haunted her. She refused the marriage proposals of many young men in the village, knowing that none of them could ever compare to Pierre. But one day, a letter arrived for Sophie, bearing the seal of Pierre's family. It was from Pierre, who had returned to the village, and he begged Sophie to meet him in the woods, where they had first fallen in love. Sophie, filled with joy and hope, set out to meet Pierre. But when she arrived at the clearing in the woods, she found only a note from Pierre, saying that he could not stay and asking her to wait for him. Sophie was heartbroken once again, but she knew that Pierre loved her and she decided to wait for him. She spent the next years of her life waiting for Pierre to return, never giving up hope. Years passed. Sophie grew older and many young men tried to win her heart, but she refused them all. One day, Pierre returned to the village, but not as the young man Sophie remembered. He had aged and had lost an arm during his journey. Sophie was overjoyed to see him, and they were finally reunited. Pierre explained to Sophie that he had been on a long and dangerous journey, but he had always thought of her and longed to return to her. He had finally been able to make his way back to the village, but only after many years had passed. Sophie forgave Pierre for the years he had been away, and they were finally able to be together as a couple. They spent their days catching up on the time they had lost and planning for their future together. Sophie and Pierre decided to get married, and the wedding was the most beautiful and joyous event the village had ever seen. They were blessed with many years of happiness, and they lived to see the birth of their children and grandchildren. Their love story became a legend in the village, and it was passed down through the generations as a reminder of the power of true love and the importance of never giving up hope. Sophie and Pierre were a testament to the fact that no matter how long it may take, true love will always find a way to prevail.